Okay guys, today we are going to start with static variable and static methods. So first of all, this is one of the important concept in static variable and static methods, both in entry perspective and concept perspective. Okay, static methods. So in last class we have little discussed about static methods, right? So here you can able to see in our main method itself static method. Okay, so let's discuss more on this today. Okay, so the static variable in the sense, so there are three parts in static. Okay, the one is static block. Okay, the second one is static variable. Okay, the third one is static methods. Okay, the part is static block. So when there is a static block, it will be defined by, see for example, if I say static, this is called static block, then your statements over here. Okay, so so what is the use of static block? See, basically when you want to execute some statements before loading your main method, which means when you are executing your program, your class will load first, second your main method will load. Okay, so while loading your class, if you want to execute your static block, you can use this. Okay, if for example you in your main method you are having set of statements, before executing those statements you want to execute the static block, so those kind of situations we can go with the static block. Okay, then what is static variable? So static variable we used to declare using, for example, I want to declare one static variable, static int count. So by default the static variable, so you need to declare static. By default the static variable value defined by 0. See for example you are having private static int count. So if I say count equal to 0, so no need to declare like this, because static variable already initialized by predefined initialized by 0, and the use of the static variable is this variable value shared by all the objects present in the application. See for example I'm having this count, I just initialized by 1001, okay, or 1000. Okay, so now I have one class called employee. Okay, employee, I have emp equal to new employee. So now I have one class and object name is emp. Okay, now I'm having one method. See for example increase count, public void increase employee count. So I have one method called increase employee count. Okay, so inside this method just I'm increasing the count value. Okay, so now whenever you call that method, see for example I will say emp. So instead of emp I'll create jack. Okay, so I'll call jack dot increase employee count. Now what will happen? Now this method will be called, so the count value will be increased by 1. Okay, then I will be calling, so then I will be creating one more object, employee mark, okay, equal to new employee. So I'm creating one more object and I'm calling mark dot increase employee count. Okay, so now what will happen? So I will create one more object. Okay, so here I will say Steve, then here I will say, I just modify mark to Steve over here. Okay, so what will happen is, now you have created three objects. So what I have told, so the static variable value shared by all the objects. Okay, see, which means when you say jack dot increase employee and when you say mark dot increase employee count, so what will happen is, so now you are calling this method three times. See, when you call jack dot employee count, the value will be 1001. When you call again mark dot increase employee count, now this will be 1002. Then when you call again Steve dot employee count, the value will be 1003. See, now so usually what will happen is, normal variables except static variables, the value cannot be shared. For example, here if I say normal variable, if I say private salary, I am having salary, and here I say salary equal to 1000. Okay, instead of 1000, okay, you will say public void set. Instead we can do it like this also. Okay, here if you say jack dot salary, I am saying 1500, just making. Okay, so here I am saying mark dot salary equal to 9000. Okay, and I am saying Steve dot salary equal to 10,000. Okay, so now okay, so what will happen is, now these values, see, when you say jack dot salary 1500, this salary value is 1500 only. So now this mark cannot access this 1500, this Steve cannot access this 9000. But when you say static variable, the static variable value shared by all the object. When I say count plus plus, this 1001 is applicable for all the objects. So so static variable value is shared by all the objects, which means, no, when you want to access this static variable, no need to create object. You can access directly by using the class name. For example, if I say the class name is employee, right? How you can access this count variable is, you can say directly employee.count. You can say directly. Usually every variable and every method can be accessed by object, but in static variables we can use class name with the variable, right? No need to create object for the static variable. That's what in our main method is static, because for main method you are not creating object. The method is public static void main string arguments, right? So the method is static method. That is what you are not creating object for the your static method. So main method also static, and this is what the use of static variable. And the static method, if I write one method, right, public static void, we'll say static method. The method name is static method. Okay, so inside the static method you can access only static variables. Okay, so you can access only static, you cannot access non-static variables. Non-static in the sense you cannot access this salary variable inside. So salary variable is not accessible here. Okay, so this is the main use of your static method. Okay, fine. So this is what the static variable and static methods. Also for calling this static method, no need to use object, you can call using the class name. For example, you can call by employee dot static method. Okay, so you can able to access only the static variables. Non-static members cannot be accessed inside the static method. Okay, now we will see the demo. Okay, so packages I will say demo, then I'll create a new project, sorry, new class. Simply I will say static, or I will say employee. This is my main method. Okay, so let us declare one static block. Okay, this is called static block. I will say system.out.println I am from static block. Okay, then here I will say I am from static method. Okay, I am from static method. Now what I said before, executing this main method, static block will get executed. Now you can execute this program. So the static block will get executed first, then your main block will get executed. This is the use of the static block. Then I will declare one variable, like here you can say static private int count equal to, initially we will discuss the initial value, how it is declared. Okay, this is my static variable, and I'll generate this I will generate the getter method. Okay, so public void, sorry, int get count. Okay, so here I will say return count. Okay, so here I want to get that value, employee initial count. Okay, so here you can say plus, how you can access, class name dot variable name emp employee dot count. Okay, So if you execute this program, you will get to know the initial value of the count variable is 0. So so the static variable value initialized by 0. You can say employee dot get count, because we have getter method, right? Get. Okay, because this is not the static variable. Public static. Okay, so now you will get there. Okay. So now um, we'll create um, some objects. Okay. Um, Here I will say public um, void increase employee count. Okay. So I will try to make this as static. Okay. So here what I will say, plus plus count, just I am increasing the employee count. Okay. And I'll create object now, employee jack equal to new employee. So now this object will be created, and I'll create jack dot increase employee count. So now the count will be increased by 1. I will say employee count is, okay, you can say you can call the employee count, employee dot get count. Now this will give you the employee count of 1, because the initial value is 0 and we have increased. We'll call the, okay, because this is a static variable, you should not use object to call. You can say class name to call this. Then again we can say okay, and okay, instead of static we will make a normal method. Then only we will get to know the exact use of the your we'll get to know the exact use of static. Okay, jack, then okay. Okay, so now why it's giving error, duplicate. Okay, we'll make mark. Okay, so now we have created 2 objects. Okay, now the method value is 2. So now this jack dot increase count will call the this one. Then again the mark dot increase employee count is this one. So initial value of the count is 0. Okay, then when you call this method using the jack, so the jack dot employee count will increase the 1. Then when you call the mark dot increase employee count, it will increase the 2. Okay, now you can run this. See here, now initial count is 0. Then this jack increase the value by 1. Then this mark increase the value by 2. Okay, so this is what this static variable and static methods will work. Okay, so guys, you have any doubt on the static variable and static method, so that we can go for the next concept if you don't have any doubt. Paul Ganesh and Pragati.
Yes, no problem with it.
Okay.
I'm fine too.
Okay. So we'll go with the constructors. Okay. So constructors. First of all, what is construct? This is also a very important topic in interview perspective, and your conceptual also. We use these constructors in our automation also. So what is constructor first? So that the initial thing is class name and method name or same. Basically, the constructor is special member method. That is very important. Special member method and class name and method name are same. Okay, then this method, which means constructors, will not return any value. See, basically, when you write any method, that method will return the value, right? Now this, when you use these constructors, will not return any value. Okay, so the constructors can have arguments, like it's a normal method. When we talk about constructors, only the demerit is it will not return any value, but it can have the arguments. Constructors can be overloaded. Okay, can be overloaded. Okay, so it's a normal method. And the method name and class name should be same. It's not going to return any value. It can have arguments and can be overloaded. So we'll see how it works in case of constructors. Okay, so we'll create one method. We'll create one constructors. See, for example, I'll create a employee. This is called the constructors. I said right, public. Okay, so if I say employee, if I say this is from default constructors. Okay, now what will happen? See, this is what the constructors. Then what is the default constructors? We'll discuss now. Okay, so in constructors there are three types. So the first one is default constructors. So okay, so what is default constructor? So the constructor does not have any arguments. Okay, it does not have any arguments. Okay, What is the second one? Does not have any arguments. This is called default constructor. So here there is one execution type. How it works? Execution principle. When it will work, because you no need to create object to call this constructor. That is one of the property, which means no need to create object to call. No need to create in the sense we can take differently. Whenever object created, okay, for the class, constructors will be called automatically. Okay, constructors will be called automatically. So this is the way the constructors will be executed. Okay, so this is our execution principle, and the type is, the first one is default constructor. Okay, then what is second one? Parameterized.
Shiva, what doubt here actually? So here, whenever object is created for the class, construction will be called. Construction and class will be same right here.
Yeah, constructor and class name should be same. This is what we have written, right? This is the default constructor. It's not, see, normal method, you can see the difference. So this is a method name of your normal method. This is a method name of normal method. But in the constructor, the class name and method name should be same. I said it does not have any return type, right? So void and integer, it does not have any the return type. So that's what I didn't give any return type. And the default constructor is not going to have any arguments. So I didn't give any argument. I just given one statement, but I have not executed. So parameters, in the sense, it will have parameters. Okay, so then it can be overloaded, which means constructor overloading, which means if the class have the default constructor and parameters constructor, this is called constructor overloading. It cannot be. Okay, so this is your constructor overloading. So now we'll go to the program, we'll start execution. Okay, so I said whenever the object is created, this constructor will be called. So how many constructor we have created? This is our default constructor 1. Then again we have created second object. So now this constructor will be called twice. Now we can execute. Okay, so this is from default constructor for the jack. Then this is for your mark. So whenever you create object, right, this constructor will be called automatically. Okay, this is called the default constructor. Okay, so whenever the object has been created, the constructor will be called automatically. So this is your default constructor. Okay, then so I have created it twice. So what happened is, for this one this is called one time, and this for this one it has called the again. Okay, so you can able to see now twice of your constructor calling. Okay, then what is parameterized constructor? Let's see. Also when the interviewer asks you, right, so what's the use of constructor? Okay, you have to say, So it is used to initialize the class members or class variables. Okay, so initialize in the sense, now you will see the real use of your constructor. Okay, so I'll create um, public employee. If I say let us have two class members. Okay, string private string employee name. Okay, then private string we'll say int id. Let us have two variables for the class. Okay, I will say string, here I'll make employee name, then int id. Okay, so what I want to do is I will say this dot employee name equal to employee name then this dot id equal to id. Okay, so I will write two getter methods. Okay, so public string get employee name. Okay, return this dot employee name, then public int get employee id. Okay, I will say return this dot id. Okay, so now this is our, as I said, this will call your default constructor, right? So once it's default constructor, I want to say I'll create one object for the same jack. Jack details. Okay, new employee of, I will say the name is Jack, then ID is 1001. Okay, what is this? Name and ID. Okay, it should be equal to operator, right? Okay, so now just I will print employee name is, I will say Jack details dot get employee ID. Okay, then and employee name is, I will say jack details dot get employee name. Okay, so let us execute this program. So you will get this IDS 1001, the name is Jack. Okay, so employee name is 1001. Okay, this is ID, right? This is ID, and this is the employee name. If you execute this, you will get to know the employee ID and employee name as well. Okay, so you got it right. So employee ID is 1001 and the name is Jack. So what we have done here is, so initially uh, we started with the static variable and static method, and this will increase your employee count. So this is your constructor. The constructor have two variables, employee name and employee ID. So just I am assigning whatever the value I am passing. So if you see, I am passing two values, Jack and 1001. So while creating the object, so automatically this constructor will be called. Okay, so what will happen now, this your Jack and 1001. Okay, so the same thing, your Jack and 1001 will be assigned in this constructor, and the values, employee name is assigned to this one, then ID will be assigned to this one. Okay, the value has been assigned with the this instance variables, your employee name and your employee ID. Okay, so now once it has assigned, so that's what I said, while creating the object, this constructor will be called automatically based on the type. See, you can ask the question now. So it now this is your default constructor, right? So when you create object, now this one will not have any arguments, right? So automatically this constructor will be called, because the constructor which does not have any parameters. So this one. Okay, then now you are calling the second one using the parameters. While creating the object, you are passing the two parameters, where it is this one. This is your parameters. This will call the parameterized constructor. This will call your parameterized. Okay, this will call your parameterized constructor. Okay, so this will call your default constructor because it does not have any arguments. This will call the default constructor. Okay, so these are the things you should understand about the constructor. Okay, so I said the third one is constructor overloading, right? So constructor overload in the sense, now in this program we have two constructor. Your program, if the program contains more than one constructor, then it is called the constructor overloading. If you see, we have two constructors. One is default constructor, another one is parameterized constructor. Okay, so now you can able to see all the things which we have discussed. Okay, so the constructor is a special member method, yes, because we are not creating object to call this constructor. Whenever you creating the object, this constructor will be called, and the class name and method name is same. If you see, your the class name is employee and the method name also employee, where we have declared this one. This is your default constructor and this is your parameterized constructor. Then it will not return any value. If you see here, the constructor is not returning any value. So because I have not, see, if you see, I have used void, but here I didn't give anything because it is not going to return any value. That's what I did not give any value in this area. Okay, then it can have arguments. see here I have some arguments. Okay, so it can be overloaded, which means yes, we have two constructor. One is parameterized constructor, another one is our default constructor. So this parameters constructor having two type of arguments, right? So string and integer. Now here it does not have any value, so automatically it is overloading. So based on the type of argument it is calling, because it does so. This employee mark equal to employee, this will call the this constructor. um, where is the default constructor? This will call your default constructor because it does not have any arguments, and this will have two arguments. If you see, your jack string and integer. So this string and integer, this will call the your parameterized constructor. Okay, then it is overloading. So whenever the object is created for the class, the constructor will be called automatically. That is happening. Then we have seen default constructor, parameterized constructor, and it can be overloaded. Okay. Then the use of the constructor is, it is used to initialize the your class variables. Okay. So this all about the basics of the basics and all about constructors. Okay, then we will see the 10 minutes. Okay, so we'll see one type of relation. Okay, um, relationship between the classes. Okay, the first one is a relationship. Okay, the second one is has a relationship. Then third one is uses a relationship. Okay, so these are the three kinds of relationship: is a relationship, has a relationship, uses a relationship. We will see the uses a relationship today. Tomorrow we will see about has a relationship. Has a relationship, and we'll start with the inheritance. Okay. So by definition we can say uses a relationship, but the thing is very simple. Okay, I'll create, so as of now we are working with a single class, so I want to create one more class. Okay, from this demo I'll create a new, and the class name is, I will say, address, employee address. Okay, then I'm not going to have this main method in this class. Okay, and here I want to have um, um, string city of the employee, and city, then string pin code of the city, then string state. Okay, then string address line. Okay, then so I want to have these four details. Okay, so for that I'm going to have one constructors, and we can generate the getter and setter methods. Where we can generate this source, here you can say, here generate getter and setters, then I want to have getter and setter methods for address line, city, pin code and state. So now it will generate automatically, you no need to create. Okay, so you can say public, sorry, it must be private, then you can say private, then private. Okay, so now you no need to create your getter and setter methods. Once you have defined your member variables, you can directly create. Right click, then you can say source, then you can select getter and setter methods. Okay, this is what you can able to generate your getters and setters methods, then you can able to do it. So now I want to create the constructors. Okay, you can go to source, then generate constructors, because here we don't have the superclass. So generate, I hope this will not okay, so this will have, we'll see how it works. So it's creating the default constructors, it does not creating any parameterized one. Then we'll create, no issues. So here, before getting these values, you can create public, then the class name is address, you can say address, then your types, I will say string city, then string pin code, okay, then string state, then string address line. Okay, then you can have this dot city equal to city, then this dot pin code equal to pin code, then string state equal to,
Directly also we can write it. No need of using this also.
yeah, that's what I explained that day. So there is a difference between we'll explain. Okay, wait, we'll explain. Let me complete this assigning the values, then we'll explain. City pin code, then this dot state equal to state, then this dot address line equal to address line. Okay, so the use of this keyword is, as I said earlier, so this denotes the current object. Okay, that is different, you just forget about when they ask the definition, you can say this is used to current object, but the real use of this keyword is when your method parameter, see for example the address is the method and its parameter is city, and which is similar to your instance variable. Okay, so this instance variable and your, so this your method parameter and instance variable completely similar. Okay, then how you differentiate this local variable, okay, this your formal argument, okay, this local variable with this instance variable, how you are going to differentiate your this city with this instance variable. This is what, when you say this dot city, which means we are denoting this instance variable, it denotes the current object variable. Okay, this city is your parameter. So whenever you send values to throw your constructor, see for example you are sending the 4 values, right? So city, pin code, state and address, you are sending the 4 values, you are trying to assign those 4 values to this your class members. See for example, when you send city For example, you are from the constructor, you are sending 4 values. Now the city will be assigned with this city, your pin code is assigned with this pin code, and this your state is assigned with this state, then your address line is assigned with this address line. Okay, so you are differentiating your method parameter with the instance variable. This is what you are using this dot city equal to city. Okay, for example, you are having city code, you have a pin code, right? So I am having only pin. Okay, so now you no need to use this one. So now you no need to use this as a keyword. Now see here, this pin is different and your instance variable is different. This kind of situation you no need to use this as a keyword, right? So but the standard is you should use, because you are trying to assign instance variables, right? So these parameters and this parameter should be same, because this is a standard one every organization is following. That's what I have given this these parameters, and this parameter should be same, and I'm using this as a keyword. But for explaining you, this is fine, absolutely fine, because this is different now, this is absolutely different. Okay, okay, so what you're trying to do here is, now you need to create object. Okay, see, for example, I'm saying, okay, we are learning the user say object, right? User say. So here I'm going to have one method, public void get employee details. Okay, so here I'm going to have one method, that is get employee details. So see, already we have employee name and employee ID in this employee class, and we have the address of the employee which is available in this address class. Okay, so now, so I want to display employee details from this method. Okay, so what I want to do is, in here we have employee ID and employee name. So here you can say get employee ID, then get employee name from this method. Okay, now this get employee details will will display the ID and the employee name of the employee based on the type of object. So now I want to get the address details. Okay, how I can call these methods, because we have only methods, right? So we don't have any values here. So what I want to do is, I will say address. I am creating object here, mpp address equal to new address of. Okay, so now you can import. Okay, so we need to send the values, right? So what are those values? City. So I will say the city is Chennai. Okay, then pin code is, I will say 60000. Okay, then state I will say, so whether it is pin code is string only, right? Okay, but in this string it is not taking as a string. Okay, we have not completed. Okay, then a third parameter is a state. I will say Tamil Nadu. Then I will say address line. Simply I will say North Street. North Street. Okay, so now we are sending the values to our address class. Okay, so now you can able to get those addresses now. So here if you say city, city of the employee is, you can say area dot get emp area dot get city. Okay, like that we can get all the values. Okay, then city, then pin code, then get pin code, like that you can get all those details. Okay, then you can get after pin code we have state, so here get okay, then after the state you can have address line. Okay, you can copy this, then address line, so here you can say okay. So now you can get it by calling this dot get employee details. So now you will get one issue after executing, I will tell you. Okay, so now you will get to know the details. Okay, so when you say get employee details, so inside we are creating the object for that address class, we are getting all those details. So this is called is the relationship. Is the relationship is very simple. We need this address details, right? So we need this address of the employee. Simply by creating the instance inside the method, we are getting all the details. Okay, so you can take the example of car uses a petrol, right? So uses a relationship is not a strong relationship, you can take that. So uses a relationship is not a strong relationship. See, for example, if you say without steering we cannot drive the car, because that steering is very important. Same time, without CD player or without CD player or music system you can able to drive the car. Okay, so you can take this example. So without steering we cannot drive, at same time without CD drive or music system we can drive the car. So you can take that music drive as a your user relationship. So it's a very it's not a strong relationship between the classes. Okay, so now so here the problem is when you call this method again, for example, if you call mark, when you call mark also, if I say mark dot get employee details. Okay, so when you call mark also, you will get the same details, right? Okay, so now I will give you this exercise to you. You try to convert. So when I say mark, you should get only mark details. When I say jack, you should get only jack details. Okay, you try to convert this. Very simple modification is required. You try to think from your end. You will come up with the solution tomorrow. Otherwise we will discuss tomorrow. This is very simple. Otherwise I can also, already time is 8:10, that further we will discuss tomorrow. Okay, so you try to convert. I can give you the idea. You can pass the object as the parameter. See, for example, you can say here you can create public void, I am giving one employee details. Okay, so here you can send the object. For example, I can say addr address addr. Okay, so here you can have this line over here. You can have, after getting the value, you can create object. Okay, then you can send the, so for example jack where is that jack details, right? Jack details dot get details. Why this get employee details? Okay, get employee details. You can send the parameter of this employee address. Okay, get employee details of address. Okay, address. Okay, you can send this as the instance. Okay, you can do like this. Now this data is different for each and every object. Okay, you try to convert this now. Simply you can create the same method with the parameter of your address. Then you can say, here how you are accessing emp address.getCity, right? You can say that addr.getCity, addr.getPinCode, addr.getState, addr.getAddress. You try to convert. I will give you one example today, including your that Friday class and this one. I will give you one class structure exactly. You try to implement this program. Please do it from your end today. I will create that class structure. We will be sending you before 9:30. Okay, before 9:30 in our group, so that you try to create the same structure what I have done here. Okay, so